Well, hello, all my friends in Texas and Oklahoma throughout the South. This is John Feldt, and this is the Weekly Water Outlook. Well, it's been an interesting couple weeks, maybe even a month for the region. It's been very interesting as the models have not been doing all that good as far as forecasting precipitation in Texas. Now, luckily, it's been on the side that we've won it. We've got more rain than expected. And if you look over this week, you can see that there was some very welcome rain again over western parts of Texas. We can see that green is a ½ inch to 1.5 inches. We even have some pockets of heavier rain, 2 inches of rain, and red is actually 4 to 5 inches of rain in some really isolated spots. Now, we could use more rain in South Texas, but at least in this western part of the state, it was very welcome. Now, we've had a trend of more rain over Oklahoma than Texas that extends well back into winter. And you can see almost the entire state of Oklahoma did receive some rain, green being anywhere from a ½ inch to usually about 1.5 inches, and those pockets of heavier rain as well. So for the most part over western Oklahoma and western Texas, this was needed rainfall. Eastern Oklahoma has been a bit wetter, but still I think that it's in the closer to the normal range, just slightly wet. So this time of summer, I think we can really take just about any rain we can get. So we look at the percent of normal. This shows the areas of above normal precipitation in blues and purple, below normal in red. Sort of a mixed bag in Oklahoma. And then in Texas, you can see that very clear line between above normal precipitation in North Texas, at least most of North Texas, and then below normal precipitation over the east and the southeast part of the state. I want to also show you the departure from normal. The areas in green and blue are anywhere from a ½ inch up to 2 to 3 inches of rain. And this is where we're catching up. We're so far below normal in that region that it's nice to get 1 inch or so of excess rain. Now we need a lot more. We need a lot more consistency of rain in this area. Unfortunately, I don't see it, and that's sort of a hint on where this briefing is going. You can see that we lost anywhere from a ½ inch to about 1 inch of rain over the southern part of Texas, and much more scattered in Oklahoma with any losses or gains close to normal. Now, I said there was a difference in Oklahoma and Texas as far as soil moisture, topsoil moisture, and this is versus a 10-year mean. I wanted to show you that the area from Kansas down to Texas, there's a pretty strong gradient here. Oklahoma is trending on the wet side compared to the 10-year mean, especially the eastern part of the state. And I wanted to show you that because it looks like we're going to get some changes in that region. Now, as far as drought goes, you can see also the eastern part of the state of Oklahoma is not classified in drought. As we get into the western part, much more so, and that's why I said that rain was very appreciated in there. I think what stands out here, look at how tight this gradient is from no drought in this region to an extensive drought over the western part of the state. So a very tight gradient of soil moisture and drought impacts going from east to west. Okay, so let's talk about the weather. We have some very significant pattern changes undergoing this week and next. This is a current jet stream. The reason we've been getting a little bit of precipitation here is because we have just enough jet energy pulling into the part of Texas and Oklahoma. It lifts then to the north in this region here. But we're going to have some significant changes this week. Early this week is the blue jet stream, and you can see even though it's bowed over the western U.S., it's still generally just as much west to east. Now late in the week, look how much further it bows up to the north, dips down to the south, and then by next week, I even put next week, look at this, it bows all the way up into Canada, and then it dips definitely far to the southeast U.S. And this is a highly amplified type pattern, and with amplified type patterns you get more extreme or significant type precipitation and temperature impacts. Now the core of that ridge of high pressure is going to be over the southeast or southwest U.S., but it's going to be influencing the western parts of the southern region, and then that trough over the eastern U.S. could be impacting eastern parts. So for the most part, I think we're going to be under the ridge of high pressure, but eastern parts of Kansas, eastern parts of Oklahoma, maybe far eastern Texas, as well as most of Arkansas and Louisiana will be influenced by the trough of low pressure. Now, this is going to be a static pattern. I think for the next 2 weeks, this is going to be the primary pattern that we're going to see. So for planning purposes, it doesn't look like it's going to be a short-term pattern. It does look like it's going to be one. Now, this is what I mentioned here. Look at these red lines. These are the positive. This is saying that the heights or the pressure is going to be higher than normal. So this is the area most impacted by that ridge. And you can sort of see that the purple right here is the dividing line. So parts of our area are going to be influenced more with the trough, but most of it with that ridge of high pressure. So here's the precipitation forecast for the next 7 days. You can see for most of our region in the south, it's going to range from no precipitation at all over most of South Texas again to just sort of scattered types of precipitation over northeast and Texas into Oklahoma. That's that light green. And then heavier as we get into that area of the upper jet stream over Arkansas, more significant precipitation. Out to the west, very dry. Now, I wanted to look out for the 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 day, and keep in mind this is way out there, so this could change. But at least for the 6 to 10 day here, once again, I don't see much sign of more significant rain over a large part of South Texas. And then as we get into Oklahoma, that pattern looks like it could continue with more enhanced rain over Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma in the 6 to 10 day period. And also maybe some scattered precipitation in the west. I'm not don't have as much confidence in this. I think the major trends are dry down here and maybe some enhanced precipitation. And then as we get into the 8 to 14 day range, even less confidence, but we'll watch this. I certainly wouldn't get your hopes up, but it looks like there's enhanced precipitation forecast over the south on that 8 to 14 day range. As that trough perhaps amplifies, it brings a little bit more energy in the region. Right now, I think this could change significantly, so I'll keep an eye on it, but right now I wouldn't get your hopes up quite yet. Now, along with the ridge of high pressure, temperatures will also be warming significantly. And I wanted to point out this areas of red are the probabilities of the upper tercile of temperature being reached or exceeded. So you can see most of Texas, especially West Texas, are going to be having well above normal temperatures through this 6 to 10 day period, as well as western Oklahoma and western Kansas. So we're looking at hot and dry, mainly no precipitation over South Texas, maybe scattered elsewhere. So soil moisture is going to be drying out over areas. You can sort of see in eastern Oklahoma, due to soils being wet and temperatures being quite warm, we have the most drying, as well as eastern Texas. And then with soils very dry over the western part of the state, despite being very hot, more modest soil moisture decreases. So the takeaway from this week's briefing, we're going to be getting into an amplified pattern with a ridge of high pressure building over the west. The core of that high will be west of our area, but will be influencing much of the western part of the south region over the next week or two. A deepening trough, a low pressure over the east, impacting the far eastern parts of our area. Hot and dry most of Texas. Scattered rain, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas, and not much change in this pattern into early July. Now, if you have any questions, you can always email me, john@bluewateroutlook.com. Working on my newsletter, I'll be talking about feedback, and I think we have some feedback loops developing over the region. I'll be talking about that, and I will be updating my briefing again next weekend. Thank you for listening.